I'm going to put this meeting into order. This is at 6:30 on August 18th. This is a Norfolk City Council meeting. This is our meeting for the second meeting in this month. So we will go from there. So with that, I'd like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Young man, why don't you come up here for a second? Yeah, right here. Why don't you help us lead? I always look for the youngest.
Under the age of 15.
You're going to help us do the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll help you, okay? So 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You did an outstanding job. You take this job done over here. Thank you. Yeah, usually we have different scouts and what have you, but in the summer, we don't get as many in here. So I usually have the youngest person. So thank you very much for doing that. Are you a scout? Great. Okay. I have a bunch of scouts. So you were one and only. And no, you can show your grandparents. You'll be on tape. So all those people, those thousands of people looking at home, they'll see you and tell all your grandparents, all your friends, you're live and you'll be there forever, you know, so go from there. So with that, again, what you have in front of you is the agenda for the night. We meet in accordance with policies and procedures from the state of Michigan. This is an Open Meetings Act meeting, so everything is by policy and procedure from the state. We follow the Roberts rules, so that's the way we do throughout the state. I will let you know as we get to different sections in the whole bit. So we went through number 1, the Pledge of Allegiance, called the order, and now I'd like the roll call from the clerk, please.
Carter.
Here.
Janetti.
Here.
Krenz.
Here.
Morosky Brown.
Here.
Turnbull.
So we're all here tonight. Great. Full quorum. So we're all the way to number 3, the approval of the agenda. The agenda is pretty light tonight. Sometimes we get an awful lot of people here. Everybody's here for, you know, the police officer of the year and the whole bit and other things, but a little bit light on that. Only one major thing is on the agenda. I'm going to look for a motion to go forward with the agenda. We will look at the consent agenda in a minute if we bring something off of that.
Yes, because there's something I want to move off of the consent.
Yep.
But
we'll get to that next.
Yes, it's modest. So I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Great. So I have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have support for that motion?
Support it.
We have support. Any other discussion on that? Great. I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Great. We have an agenda. So now we're to number 4, public comment. If you're here tonight, and some of you might be, I see some new faces out there. If you're here to discuss anything but what's on the agenda, and the agenda is the first reading and introduction of the amendment for zoning ordinance of standards on rooftop uses, you may or may not be here for that. If you are, I'll open it up at that point, so you will have time to talk on that. If there's anything else that you want to bring to our attention, this would be the time. I open it up for those in council chambers, and I open it up for those that are online. So is there anybody here that would like to give public comment tonight? Again, it's not a Q&A. You have 2 minutes to say what's ever on your mind about things in the city. This is your time. Any public comment in here? Going once? I try to see it right up there. Give your full name and address so we have it for the clerk and everybody can hear you online too.
My name is Peter Hoffman. Address is 19317 Upland Court.
Great.
I wanted to say thank you very much to the city and to the city officials. I was a observer and participant in the hearing on Thursday. And I wanted to say thank you very much to the city officials and the city attorney for fighting and continuing to defend the on-street dining. It is very important. I think it is very important to the restaurants. And I was really touched and very, very impressed with the arguments made. I especially really liked the motion and the attempted motion to try and push the date back until after the permits that you guys legally issued had expired at on November 1st. I was equally disparaged and a little discouraged to see the vehemence of which the plaintiff's attorney argued against it, arguing and trying to really, in my opinion, turn the businesses against the city and say that, you know, imply that you had done wrong when, in my opinion, and looking at it, you guys followed all of the permitting procedures. Thank you again on behalf of the citizens of Northville, on behalf of the community. and the various businesses for attempting to keep part of the pedestrian zone and keep the charm of Northville alive.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Public comment from inside council chambers? Going once, going twice. I'm closing off comment for the public here. If it's on our agenda, you have another chance just on that subject. Why don't you let them know online how to raise their hand electronically? I will go that for anything that is not on the agenda, anything but the rooftop dining at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If anyone is watching at home on the YouTube channel and you'd like to make public comment, the instructions are on the agenda. The number is there. Just call in and then press *9 to raise your virtual hand. Once your virtual hand is raised, we will call on you to make public comment. At this time, Mr. Mayor, there is no one in the comment line.
Wow, that is unique. We had 954 here last time. 924, oh, right? Sorry about that. I gave you a little bit more. So I'm going to do a count of one. You can't see them all on here. It's just that going once, going twice. Okay, I'm closing off public comment online. They'll have another chance on that one item that comes up on our agenda here. So, and with that, number 4A, written communications. We've all received up until 4 o'clock. We had 9 different letters that came up. You could see electronically, or some of you printed them out here. So we have those. Sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less. Right up to 4 o'clock, anything that comes in, it's online. Anybody in the public can see that. And all of us, of course. I expect everybody to read those in their full package before they get here today.
Can I make one comment?
Absolutely, please.
So I really appreciate the letters. We don't get them until after 4:30, but we've read them. I've read them all. I think most of us have. One thing that would be helpful sometimes it's just a supportive comment or whatever it may be. Sometimes there would be follow-up action. One of us might want to call or refer it to the city. It'd be helpful if you put your phone number in. So if you're if there's an issue you'd like the city to take a look at, and it's good to have that we're able to reach out and get some more details. So just so we read them, and if there's any action that we'd like to take or follow up, that's just helpful. So
great.
that's all.
Super. So with that, we are going to go to the next here. If you're following out there in the seats of life, consideration of approving the consent agenda. Now, the consent agenda is everything we do. All of our bills. We're a $35 million organization that has to pay bills. So on that, just a couple things. The bills and like consideration of OLV Picnic Street closure for a big function over there. I think you're involved with that, John, but a lot of different things. This is a time, if there's something that's important enough to bring up to the regular agenda, and I'll open it up for those that are in council that would like to bring anything from the consent agenda. And those are all online. You can see every bill. It's kind of like going through your credit card. You can see all those things and what we pay and who we're paying them to, besides all the other smaller functions in town. So with that, anything on the consent agenda that we'd like to lift to the regular agenda?
Yes, there's
Barbara.
one item. I will say that while we have a light regular agenda, we have a very dense consent agenda and a lot. I'm comfortable with most of these items being on here, but there's a lot happening related to the rural bridge and the local cost sharing. Sheldon, the roundabout, which we've all heard, things related to cost sharing on that, and Ford Field Park West. So there's a lot of good stuff. All of those items have come before us before, and this is just
Right.
crossing the I, dotting the T. So on things we need to complete on that. So the one item I would like to request be moved is item B, which is the approval of a traffic control order. This relates to the petition to amend on-street parking ordinance. I have nothing against that. In fact, I'm so supportive. So I'd like that discussion of this is how
Bring it up to the
good
normal
things can
agenda.
happen. Yes.
Sure.
So
I don't see any problem with that. Any consideration? Would we be supportive? Support? I see a lot of heads shaking. We don't have to do a motion for that. So we will make that 9B on the
Correct.
new business. So 9B. Great. If anybody talked about that already, they'd already talked about it, but I will bring it up again there in a second. Great. Anything else from the consent agenda? Going once? Great. as Barbara Roski Brown, our Mayor Pro Tem, mentioned, a lot going on. There's a grant for $500,000 for bathrooms at Ford Field right now. You know, we didn't have to have a lot of discussion. We've had a lot of discussion on this over time. There's also a grant. We're finishing up activities for Rural Hill. We had a grant for $890,000. It's about $1 million bridge to get in and out of Rural Hill. That will be done in the next week or so. If you're down there by Rogers Street and 7 Mile, go in there. It's a beautiful bridge, you know, with the wood handles on the outside. It basically got condemned. It's been so long. So we had to do a new bridge in there. And we're doing an awful lot of work. Andrew Krenz is the chair for our cemetery restoration group on the Cady Street Cemetery, or Oakwood here. We're touching all 496 stones. We have Revolutionary War veterans and Civil War veterans. We're all on the shoulders of those that became before us. So we're trying to restore that cemetery too. So thank you, Andrew, and everybody here for the support. So as Barbara mentioned, a lot going on the consent agenda, but these things move each and every day. So thank you. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda with that change. Did we do that?
Well, I made the.
Okay, you made the
amendment, so
motion. I would
somebody
like-
else- No, I didn't make, no.
Motion to approve as amended.
Yeah. Do we have support?
I'll support it.
Support. Any other discussion on the items on the consent agenda? With that, if we can do this, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. So we have an agenda. So as you go through there, presentations tonight. Everybody's here for this. This is the most important thing. We have the Officer of the Year, and I'm going to have our Chief Mason, tell us about why we're here.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. I'm happy tonight to introduce Officer Scott Groff, who is our 2024 Police Officer of the Year. As many of you know, our Officer of the Year is voted on by their peers and with their officers within the department. And I wanted to touch on some of Scott's great accomplishments that he did during the year 2024.
Sure.
Just a little background with Scott. Scott joined the department here in 2014. Prior to that, he served in the United States Air Force, where he served as Security Forces Military Police. During that time, he was awarded Air Force Commendation Medal, 2 Air Force Achievement Medals, an Army Achievement Medal, and an Air Force Combat Action Medal. He served in both Operation Iraq Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Scott holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and also a master's degree in business administration with a concentration on leadership. So we look at 2024, there are 2 things that really stand out for Officer Groff. The first is he is our assistant accreditation manager. The department just went through our reaccreditation. Now, I would say that it is harder to get reaccredited than it is to actually get accredited the first time. Officer Groff worked tremendously, did a lot of time put in to get everything together to make us successful. And that was evident at our hearing that we had in front of the accreditation commission, where they had commented on how great of a job we did to prepare. Secondly, Officer Groff took it upon himself really to become an expert in cybercrime. Now, cybercrime has progressed over the years in law enforcement, but it seems that law enforcement can never catch up to where the cybercrime goes. It seems to be always evolving. And I can remember when I started, it was just coming online per se, and then now we're getting, unfortunately, members of our community that are falling victim to online fraud. Officer Groff had taken upon himself to take classes to not only investigate that type of crime, but also become an expert in it. And this is unheard of, especially for a department as small as we are. A lot of times when people would come to departments for fraud investigations where a lot of that money is sent overseas, there's really not much departments can do other than take a report. Now, with Officer Groff's expertise, he can actually do search warrants. We've actually did a search warrant overseas where we actually identified suspects. We were able to get money back in some Bitcoin cases, which is unheard of, and it's incredible. I'm very proud of what he's brought to this department and what he's done over the past year. This is well deserved, and I am very grateful to present him with this award. Congratulations.
Come right up here.
Oh, there we go.
This is one of the fun parts of being the mayor. Come right over here and live. So I was with Debbie Dingle yesterday and some of our senators and representatives. There's a lot going on tonight. You're gonna get proclamations, so you can put your walls at home and the whole bit. They are coming. Normally they would be here tonight. This is a big night for activities, but they all wanted to let me know that they're here for you. They understand you'll get a lot of hardware, but the hardware that we'll give away today to Scott, the great one here. So, again, this is from all the city of Norfolk. Let me just read this. It's pretty heavy too. The Norfolk Police Department 2024 Police Officer of the Year recognition of outstanding excellence, honoring Officer Scott Groff, or Officer Groff, one of the two. In recognition of his exemplary service and dedication to our department in his varying roles from cyber investigator, assistant MACP accreditation manager. And I've heard from all the accreditation people, I spent a great time with them too. They were so complimentary of everything that you did to get that going. It is very tough the second time. It's a little easier. Not that it's easy the first time, it's very tough the second time. Also, being the union representative and mentor to the younger personnel in our staff here. In addition to always striving to expand his knowledge base in the areas of his expertise while adhering to the highest ethical and moral standards. Officer Scott Groff has earned the honor of being named the 2024 Officer of the Year for the Norfolk Police Department. Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. Bye.
For yours. You so nice.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Have the family come up, get those pictures. That's why everybody's here tonight. That's why everybody's online. All the family come up.
We'll just remove stuff
Get
from
some
the agenda
pictures.
as it becomes an issue.
See,
Oh,
there's that.
and I have another piece of hardware when you're
Yeah.
done too. It's right there.
His family could hold that.
Oh, yeah. In fact, somebody from the family could hold
Huh?
this one.
I'm hiding over there.
Right there.
Well,
Son.
it's like we're trying to. You're in the picture, but you're not.
Can we hop in?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, we have a professional photographer there. He's with the police. He'll take all the pictures of all your, yeah, right? Is that correct? Absolutely. Julie knows. Congratulations. In the city of Norfolk, we're known for our police department. We drive by just about every home 7 or 8 times a day. People are here because it's a safe community because of officers like the one that you just saw, the Officer of the Year. And thank you so much, all of you. Appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. Congratulations. So appreciate the family too. A lot of time and energy, and he's here all the time. So thank you. So with that, we have done the Officer of the Year. So let's go on to the next thing in life on my calendar here. We will go to public hearings. We have no public hearings tonight. Great. Unfinished business. We finished all our business, so that's a good thing last time. So now new business. We're going to have 9A and 9B because we added that. So 9A is the consideration of approving the first reading and introduction of an amendment for the zoning ordinance to establish standards of rooftop uses in certain zoning districts. You're going to tell us all about that, Justin. Go right ahead.
So the Planning Commission started working on this back in 2022. A subcommittee of the Planning Commission was established to try to activate rooftop uses, not only in downtown, but a majority of the commercial and mixed use districts. Last year, their report and findings were turned over to staff. And earlier this year, I presented the planning commission with some draft language to review. They spent a couple of meetings reviewing the draft language, and last month they held a public hearing. Or I'm sorry, their last meeting 2 weeks ago, they held a public hearing and unanimously recommended approval of this ordinance to council. As the mayor said, this would establish standards for rooftop uses in a number of zoning districts that are listed in your staff report. The rooftop uses would be a special land use in those districts, which would mean that they're reviewed on a case-by-case basis, subject to planning commission approval. The draft ordinance is written to provide flexibility, so it outlines some basic operational standards to ensure compatibility with neighboring land uses, while also trying to encourage rooftop uses in these districts. So I think that the ordinance does a pretty good job of trying to encourage the use while also not being overly burdensome. There, as drafted, this ordinance would regulate all the rooftop uses in the district. So commercial, residential, public and private, they all fall under the ordinance as recommended by the planning commission. This is first reading tonight. So if you're inclined to move it ahead, this would be scheduled for a second reading and adoption at your next meeting.
Great. So I'll open up just comments on that. Then anybody else on council? I'll open up if you have comments on this too from the audience. This has been working for years. It was here before your time. The planning commission has been working back and forth to get this to us, and I appreciate their time and talents working on this. It's important, and thank you for jumping in on this too. So this is not just today. They've already had public hearings or people's comments from planning commission up to this time. So this is the next level at council. So thank you for jumping in. I know you've taken it very seriously and looked at every word in there and worked with them. So from my standpoint, I want to thank you and those that are online, the planning commissioners. They've done an outstanding job on this. So we can have standards for rooftop dining, and you can see in different condos that are going out there, townhomes, we have to have a standard for all of it. So that's all my comments. Others from council, do you want to start?
Mine's a little tougher.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, I'm just so supportive of this ordinance. I was back at the planning commission way back when in 2022, when they were deciding which ordinances do we want to focus on and what do we need? And this was one that rose to the top. And been to just about every meeting where they've discussed it at, and they've been very thoughtful. But I'm going to have a little back and forth because I'm not an expert in this, so I want you to help me as we piece this together. But one of the things that was so good is that before this, we could have rooftop use. And we've got a lot of them already in town, both in commercial and residential. It was just totally unregulated. And then it left some gray areas. Well, can they do that? Can't they do that? And so I think I agree with Planning Commission that it didn't disallow it, but it didn't encourage it and elevate it. And so that's what this does. I also like their approach, which you mentioned in here, is that Planning Commission has also discussed a future amendment to address rooftop uses in the residential districts. So the distinction here is this zoning ordinance is by district, not by type of use across any district, correct? It's not commercial anywhere or residential anywhere. It's only within these particular zoning districts.
Correct. All the rooftops in these districts.
Yeah, which covers a lot of area, and it's our commercial areas. So I thought that was good because they recognize that when you get into single family residential or single unit dwellings, it'd be something less than some of the things that are in here for commercial. So I also look forward to their tackling that next one. Rather than waiting to have the whole thing done and holding it up, they said, let's move forward with this. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
The one item that I do have a concern on, that's why I wanted to have a discussion, is it's everything within these zoning districts, and which is Central Business District, Cady Street Overlay, General Commercial, South Main Overlay, it goes out professional and business office. So it's a lot of area. But it would also include individual dwelling units, whether it be single family or a single residence above a commercial, right? But yet that same type of building, if it wasn't in one of these districts, they can do whatever they want. You know, these don't apply because that's step 2. So what I'm wondering is, so for private rooftop terraces or patios that are accessible only from within an individual dwelling unit, can we consider is that, you know, that it could be something less than this, like an explicit exception? And that exception, when they get to step 2 for residential, could be amended to be rolled under that. So this would be, you know, this is more comparable to, and we have a number of these that have existed for a long time
Mhm.
on Main and Center.
Right.
So I don't want this to be punitive to them, that they're treated like a commercial building, you know, commercial use, public use. But I don't know, is there opportunities to leave this as is, but carve out an exception for that type of single unit
And
dwelling?
you've thought about this. Why don't you give us a
Certainly
response?
could, you know, as I mentioned, currently the ordinance is applicable to all of those rooftops. We can draft an exception and then at part 2 of this ordinance,
Yeah.
rope that exception into residential standards, if that's something that council wanted to do. And I think that would be, you know, keeping with moving this forward.
Okay.
You know, the exception could be prepared between now and your second reading. So it would be relatively easy to add an applicability section to this ordinance.
Another line.
In terms of, because I don't want, I'm not trying to get away from their intention, the planning commission's intention on this, is that they were very specific that there's types of residential that you want to regulate rooftop, particularly for large communal, you know, whereas a communal residential top where you might have 10 units that share a rooftop, or even a multi-dwelling units where each has their own. So you've got, even though each has their own rooftop, there's a lot of stuff up there, you know, so they did want to regulate that. So I wouldn't want an exception to change that they really wanted to maintain in this.
And I keeping that in mind, I can work on some language that targets that specific exemption to keep the applicability to all of the rest of the rooftops except those particular
Oh, I mean,
spaces.
how do others feel about that? Is that anybody?
Supportive. I would just ask that between now and the second reading, can we follow up with members of the planning commission just to get their feedback as well?
Sure.
So we
Your work
can
with them.
incorporate that.
So if
I know we've
if
got
this
time.
moves ahead tonight, we have a planning commission meeting tomorrow, actually, and
Mhm.
during my staff
And you'll be part of
update,
that.
I will let them know that this is moving forward.
Great, great.
And again, I don't want to, what I'm trying to do is not unintentionally capture a private residential feature in a single residential unit that doesn't create this community-wide effect that they're trying to target here and be unduly punitive. Because I don't think that's their intention, but it could be the effect.
Understood.
Yep. So you'll work with them, talk to them tomorrow, and you'll get something back to us before the next meeting.
Yep, and just to be clear that this language will come from me and it's not being referred back to
Right,
the planning.
that's correct. You're
commission.
just getting some
Yep.
input. It's coming from you. Yes. Other comments for Justin?
I mean, the only thing I was gonna add is rooftops are here. I think we know that, but and frankly, I appreciate the effort behind them and the fact that we are ultimately increasing activation of limited space within town. I think it's a benefit for us to proactively put structure controls in place to make sure we've got a plan, but also do everything we can to encourage their expansion and growth, because I think it's good for the businesses, it's good for community, it's a benefit overall, and cities continue to evolve. And so just continuing to lean into that, I would support. I did have one question. I know in prior discussions, there have been conversations at HDC of rooftops and sightlines. Is there any consideration from an HDC standpoint on how this ordinance would relate to the Historic District Commission and given the fact that we have rooftops that will be within that zone as well?
So all of the rooftop uses that are implemented in the historic district would need to be reviewed and approved by the historic district and receive a certificate of appropriateness. So this ordinance does not supersede or supplement the design guidelines in the historic district.
So I guess the only ask I would have there is in your role as liaison there is as detailed as we can be, given this is an evolving and a new element in our city, that we can provide clear direction of what those requirements are to any businesses or individuals that want to build rooftops, just so they can go through that process as well.
Absolutely.
Others on council?
Justin, can you just weigh in or clarify, so how this applies to, let's say, an existing historic structure? How would you loop in things like fire code, structural stability, if you're putting massing on the roof, things of that nature?
So all improvements or amenities on a rooftop would have to meet applicable building and fire codes. Any existing rooftops are going to just be considered what, is legal non-conforming, that they existed prior to the adoption of this current ordinance. And then as changes occur over time, any rooftop amenities that are out of compliance would need to then come into compliance with the current ordinance.
And for those that haven't read, some of the highlights are, you cannot allow for a de facto top story. You have that language in there. If you boxed it in, that applies to overall height, which is good. I'm glad that's there. You have an implicit language for high wind conditions and restraint, because obviously you could create an issue with any number of things blowing off a roof. So that's noted in there. And then, as the mayor pro tem said, it applies to commercial districts and not residential. So language looks good. I was able to participate in the planning meetings. They were very deliberate. So I give great deference to where they want to go. I look forward to hearing.
Policies and procedures for the future. Great.
Following the rules, we're good.
Laura?
We gotcha.
And one follow-up.
Okay, follow up.
What Councilmember Krentz said is that it is the unintended consequence, because one's for those single dwelling units with their private entrance, so it's a private rooftop patio. They're grandfathered in as they currently are, but say, time and weather, they need to change their table or a couch. Now that is new, so they have to follow these. So something as simple as that, that's the unintended consequence.
Right.
That's
Right. Got comments from us. I'll open this up officially for public comment on this idea of rooftop dining. This is the official opening up. This is public comment if you have anything else to say, but this is the first reading on this. Does anybody have any comment on this in council chambers? Come right up. Nice and loud into that mic.
Hey, thank you. Really appreciated the presentation. I'm a big fan of rooftop dining in general, but definitely in downtown Northville as well. I've noticed that in Detroit, where there's many places that you can dine from the rooftop, take in spectacular views, and our views are going to get even better in the coming years. I find this just a really great way, like the council member mentioned, how to engage our space. I also wanted to say my name.
Good idea. That should be a beautiful thing. I would have got to that.
And I'll do that now. It is Aaron Comp. I live at 19340 Scenic Harbor Drive. And in general, I love taking my kids to exchange. They love the rooftop, seeing the space downtown. It's just a really great way to engage our community in a safe, friendly way. And I really encourage that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in council chambers? Going once, going twice. I'm closing that off in council chambers. Again, anybody online, any hand raisers for this subject?
You do have a caller online, Mr. Mayor. Their hand is not raised. Caller, if you'd like to make a public comment on this topic, please press *9 on your keypad, *9.
6885. That's the number we see.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 6885 is the last 4 digits of your phone number.
Okay, we'll give them a second. Going once. Going twice. There's a lot more people than this on there, but they were ready. Wanted to give them that last chance. Okay, I'm closing that off. So Justin, we did the first reading. We'll be ready for the second reading. You're going to have some modification. I think Councilperson Carter has. Do you have any?
We just need to make the motion.
Oh, we will. We will. We're not quite there, but
All right.
you got that done. So Any other comments before I'm looking for a motion to go forward with
I have a
this?
question about,
Yes.
technical question related to the motion. So we seem to have agreement, for the direction. Does that change the motion that we do? It does not, I don't
It does
think.
not, because you're just introducing the
Yeah.
amendment
Right.
and the final.
Final will be,
I just wanted to check. I thought it was.
Great.
Okay, thank
good
you.
point.
I
Are you ready
move-
for that motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the first reading of an amendment to the zoning ordinance to establish standards for rooftop uses in certain zoning districts, with the second reading and adoption scheduled for September 4th, 2025.
So we have a
Support.
motion and it's properly supported by Councilperson Krenz. Any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I think we can do this without a roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we're ready for the second one. You got a little work to do between now and then. So again, we added a new business to 9B, and I would ask the chief to come up, recommendation for approval of traffic control order 2502. Tell us just a little bit about that, and then we'll give you a little bit of input. It's all
Good
yours,
evening,
Alan.
Mayor and members of City Council. Tonight before you is a request to approve traffic control order 25-02. That is going to be a no stopping, standing, or parking on school days between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. and also in the afternoon from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That is going to be on the north side of Ely Drive South between Center and Ely Court, and on the west side of Carrington Drive between Ely Drive South and North Ely Drive. A little bit of background on this. I received a proposal and a petition from residents in this neighborhood regarding this issue, and I believe most of the neighborhood is here today to talk about this and offer any comments that they may have. But kind of a shorter version of this is during the drop off and pickup times for Ammerman. This is a neighborhood directly behind Ammerman School.
Yep.
It gets very congested. These are narrow roads. And so when there's driveways, and there's also a safety concern where kids running out in between vehicles trying to get to their parents' vehicle. And so this is, I do believe that this is a very good proposal. I think it's a good solution to the problem. I reached out to our school resource officer, Patrick Lindbergh, who's in the back as well. He has seen it firsthand and has seen some of the congestion issues back there as well. And he does support that, as well as we also reach out to the school at Ammerman as well. The principal is on board with it. And if it does get passed this evening, it will go out on their newsletter coming out this week for the new.
Right before school starts.
School year.
Right.
A couple of things, obviously, with anything new, there's going to be a learning curve. So we'll be out there
Mhm.
in that neighborhood to help out, to direct the parents where they need to be. But I think this is a good solution, especially the hours and on school days as well. So when there is summer break, when there is, the school is off, it will not be in effect. But it will be during those times. So I am asking tonight for council to approve this traffic control order, which would allow for those parking restrictions in those areas. And if anyone's had any comments at all, I'd be happy to answer any.
So let me start by saying somebody that had children there 30 years ago plus, that means I'm really old. It's always been a unique and exciting experience picking them up in front. And I just think this brings it to the next level. I think the school is totally open to this. They've been wanting to this and wanting us to go forward with it. I think it'd be safe for everybody. I mean, that was 30 years ago. We keep trying to get better all the time. So thank you for listening.
The school is expanding as well.
Yes.
We have a lot of students in that small school as well.
Right.
The timing.
Right. And they're expanding the school itself and the footprint to
Yeah.
handle more students there. So, yep. So thank you for that. That's all I have. Others from council.
Chief, with school right around the corner, can you speak a little bit to the timing for the signs themselves and what temporary signage will be required?
So we're hoping to get the signs ordered and get them up there. If not, we will do some temporary signage like we did on Main Street as well until those come in.
Right.
And as well between Patrick Lindbergh, our school officer, and our officers will be out there for the first couple of weeks, making sure everything runs smooth.
Yeah, I think getting it established right on the first day and not trying to change patterns after school begins is critical. And so appreciate if we need to have additional officers over there during that interim period, especially if we're using temporary signage. I think that is time and effort well spent.
Chief, thank you for doing this so quickly. I have the same question as Councilmember Carter. My follow-up would be, just check on this with our SRO after the fact to see if we think we've completely alleviated the condition as far as the neighbors are concerned.
Sure.
So after we're, let's say, into a steady state on traffic flows, did we solve the problem we tried to, or did we create new problems would be all I ask.
Sure.
And then we advise and correct if need be.
And you've worked through it at different other schools, you know, in town, and it's all worked out. We modified as we keep going, so.
Unique parking issue.
Yeah,
It's very dynamic.
unique and exciting.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just thank you to the neighbors too, because it's not easy to come up with a plan like that.
It is,
We feel like the grouchy
And I like to
ones
give
on-
them a lot of credit
But I-
because they.
Back there too.
right.
Yes.
I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, no.
No, go ahead.
No, because you were working with them, so.
Oh, no, I was
I'm
going to
just-
say, this is a great proposal. And
Yeah.
really, if you look at a good example of bringing this to us, this was
Yeah.
great with the proposal and all the signatures as well.
I bring the school system, your department and the different neighbors together, and you kind of melded into a great example of going forward, way forward path.
So it isn't often that I look at my agenda and the items on even the consent agenda and just get a big smile on my face and say, this is how things are supposed to work.
Sure.
So that's why I requested to move it to the regular agenda.
I think that was
This
outstanding.
was from, I mean, if I'm reading this properly, the email and in the sharing of the petition was July 22nd. I mean, that, you know, in of this past July. So this happened so quickly, yet it wasn't quickly like, oh, that sounds good. Let's do it. You did your due diligence, and did all of the things to do, but you did it quickly.
Yeah.
But I want to start right where it all started, which is grassroots. So this is my nerdy self, but back when this would go back to 2022. We commissioned, we hired an engineer, right, under
Mhm.
contract to look at
22.
pedestrian safety and traffic flow in our neighborhoods, in all of our residential areas. So it was spurred because of the closures, the street closures, or what became seasonal closures, but it really was about all neighborhoods. And in that was a process that individuals in a neighborhood or on a particular street could put together a petition to have it, you know, they see a problem and they want you to take a look at it, and you get signatures from your neighbors. And then there's action taken by the city to look at that problem. This is it. This is the first time somebody's used that process. I completely understand why you didn't use our form. It's not good. But you, so don't worry on that.
Feedback opportunity.
Yes, but this is just amazing. I mean, it was so professionally done. It just was clear, concise, and then, wow, you went above and beyond in the number of petition signatures you had on your streets. So I believe everybody that signed that should be, called up. But there was Kyle Matson, Marie Aducci, and Jennifer Francis. Are you here? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. This is the
Absolutely.
kind of citizen activism that makes a difference in our community. And so both from your doing this in such a neighborly and professional way to the chief's quick action, this just warmed my heart. And so I just want to thank everyone. So sorry it meant you had to talk about it, but.
Oh, that's fine. It was good.
No, it's
Giving you some 10 minutes of fame
everyone
out
showed
there.
too, so
Yeah,
that's-
absolutely.
that's good, yeah.
Any other comments for the chief? Any comments from those in the audience on this? This off again. This happened very, very quickly. This is days and weeks because of the input from those in the neighborhood that you rallied, the police officers and the school all coming together. So this is the way things get done in a quick and logical fashion. Thank you. Thank those in the neighborhood for being involved, and not only being involved, coming up with what should happen. And thank you very much for taking this on. Again, this is less than a month from when it really started, and school's going to start, and we'll have it done before school starts. So Thank you for that. Appreciate that tremendously. Did I say anybody online that has a question on that too?
There is no hand raised at this time.
Okay.
Caller, if you'd like to make public comment on this topic, please press *9 on your keypad.
Oh, they do. Excellent. So as soon as that,
Press *6 to unmute. Please state your name and address and then proceed with your comment.
6885, you are live. Go right ahead. Your full name and address.
Hello, Lori Johnson, 47234 Dunsany Road. I do appreciate that things are heard at council meetings. I did have some trouble trying to dial in here, but I tested it. It worked. Thank you guys for everything you do. That's it.
Thank you, Loy. We like those once in a while. Good. Anybody else online there? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm closing off public comment online. So with that, we have a motion in your package. I'm looking for that motion to go forward. I think you're very excited.
You've earned this one.
Please.
Do we-
Please do.
This is my punishment. Okay. So,
Opportunity.
move to approve traffic control order 25-02 that restricts vehicles from stopping, standing, or parking on school days from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the north side of Eli Drive South between Center Street and Eli Court, and on the west side of Carrington Drive between Eli Drive South and North Eli Drive.
Support.
So we have a motion properly supported.
One hyper technical question.
Please.
Completely good. Is what about half days? And I'm.
Will you be there? Will you be there at noon?
There may be a
Still a
little
school day.
discretion.
Okay, we'll work on it. We'll work with the neighbors, we'll be out there. We'll put cones there on the half days.
Just ruined my
Good point. Thank you. Okay, work on that.
Just kidding. I'm
That's
also.
It is a good
You rallied at Tunes on Tuesday, so that happened in a day or two. We can do that.
We love having an engineer on council.
Great.
Right.
So we have a motion is properly supported. We have other discussion. Very good, duly noted. Any other discussion? No. Seeing none, I think we can do this too. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Good.
Thank you very
You have it. Thank you very much. We appreciate all you've done in the neighborhood too. So now we will go to number 10, Mayor and Council Communications. As Peter and others mentioned, the downtown, if you were down here this weekend, it was booming. There was music in Town Square and Church Square on Friday night, and all the restaurants were booming. No, our social district, even if the streets are open for traffic, it's still all the sidewalks. I saw people going around enjoying themselves, thousands of people. So thank you. Thank you for your comments earlier on that, Peter. To have that downtown and active area. All of us have been involved with the Ford Field actions. You will have a vista there to see the sunrise and a new playscape and bathrooms and a waterfall. If you haven't seen that waterfall, it's outstanding. Right in downtown. We have 5 sections of the Riverwalk happening right now, and we daylighted one. All the council members were there on last Wednesday, almost all of us. I was not there. I was out of town for something, and John, but we daylighted the river. That has been a project of love for a long time. We got different grants. If you haven't been down there soon, that whole park will be done by October. Over 10 acres of a bioswale park. The bridges are coming in. And on the other side of that, the farmer's market, which will connect to that. It's an exciting time. There's a lot going on in Norfolk. Take advantage of that. Walk around as summer, ends here and see some of those things in action. But thank you. I've seen a lot of you downtown. Lot going on. Continue to be downtown on the weekends. Continue to walk around and see all that's happening around you each and every day. So thank you for that. And thank you for being involved. We talk about, we have 6.5% of all of our people involved with, committees and boards and task forces. And this is an example right in the neighborhood, making changes in front of Ameren. So I thank you for your involvement. You're making the difference. You're molding Norfolk for the future. So thank you. That's all I have. Others on council?
Yeah, I've got a couple items. One, I just wanted to express my appreciation to George, Wendy, members of our playground committee, and everyone else who showed up on Saturday morning. We had an information session on the future of the Ford Field Playground, Fort Griswold, and it was fantastic. We had great turnout. There were a lot of kids. A lot of those kids have very unique ideas for the future of the playground.
Yes, they do.
But it was a really fun event, and I appreciated everyone taking the time on a Saturday morning to come out and participate. I also wanted to highlight that this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. in this room, we will have a bicentennial committee meeting.
Yes, we.
And so anyone who would like to get involved, join that effort. We've got a lot of work to do and some exciting plans there as well. And then the third item, there will be updates coming in future meetings, but I do want to highlight on September 6th will be the Declan Carter Victory Run. I actually see a number of people in this room that are already registered, which I love and appreciate. We've had really good participation and honestly, a lot of our local businesses leaning in as sponsors and supporting to raise money for youth athletics, as well as that same Ford Field playground. So I'm going to keep talking about that until we've got it built. But just want to encourage everybody to come out. Well, you can run, you can walk, you can jog, but it's going to be a great event for all families.
Great. Thank you, John. Barbara.
Well, just want to echo what the mayor said. At the river daylighting, the first time that water was just diverted from the culvert buried to the new channel. It was just an amazing feeling. It's not much to look at right now. So, but just seeing that first flow, which they're keeping 40% in the culvert and 60 moving into it is just amazing. I mean, I look forward to seeing it when it gets built out and it isn't an ugly mess, which it is now by necessity. But just the feeling of, I mean, this is 5 years it took,
Right.
to move that along from its infancy. And so it's good for the environment. It's good. It'll be good as a ribbon park. So all good on that. So that is just amazing. The other is I wanted to get input on this and related to my fellow council members. As they know, there was something on the consent agenda that I just wanted additional information on, and that was the Cady Street water replacement. And in that this is as many things in the agenda. It's come before us before. We've approved the contracts. It was a modest additional cost of $20,000 because of course we found something underground we didn't know was there. Happens all the time in Northville.
Absolutely.
An abandoned infrastructure. But what the bigger issue was that, well, it didn't really clarify if there was a budget impact to that, like who was paying for it, and also the way this is in our Downs PUD agreement, development agreement. So I had this conversation with George a couple months ago. We're now approaching the 2-year anniversary of City Council approving that development agreement. It is a dense document, 60 pages long, and it covers many, many things. But one of the critical things from a City Council standpoint that's in there is all the cost and obligations that the developer has versus the obligations that the city has, and how that all pans out. We are now, we just talked about the river. Of course, we've had demolition, we had environmental cleanup, we've got the roundabout happening, we have things happening down at 7 Mile Road for traffic improvements. This Cady Street water main, which is significant, $638,000 is described in the development agreement, and the developers covered that cost. But it has twists and turns in that. Took 2 pages to talk about that $638,000. It's sort of like it's just this horrific flow chart of when they have to pay this or if they don't have to pay. So my request, so part of that, and we're still going to get some answers on that, but the bigger question is that we know coming before us very soon, we are going to be asked for a second time, but this time it's significant amendment to the development agreement. And that's a natural change. It's just a change that it's working through the system. It's already gone through planning. It's going to HDC this week.
Right.
They're removing the condominium building and making a bunch of changes. So we are going to be, eventually it's going to soon, it's going to come to us. So a couple months ago, I said to George, when that comes to us, we need a checkup. Where are we at in terms of those financial obligations? Because there's so many of those projects, very large cost projects that are in play. How is it all working? And as I say developer, but it's actually developers. Are those payments coming in on time? Has there been any hiccups? Do we need any reconciliation? So that we would have that information before we actually discuss the amendments to the development agreement that the developer will be requesting. So I know that it was about this item, although 638,000 and saying, what have they paid so far is not small change. But this is I would say our oversight. I just look at from a policy, we don't just approve something and say, I hope it all works out. It's a checkup to say, how's it working? So that's my request, is that we have that come before us. I know George had said at the time, Sandy has all of that buttoned down and is following all that, and I do trust she is. But I think both for us as council members and transparency to the community, it'll be good to have that sort of where are we at and how is that working? Come to us,
I think that'd
preferably
be good.
before the development.
Yeah, you
agreement.
and Sandy to work through a document.
We'd certainly be happy to
Yep.
do that. And they have been good partners in paying their bills and meeting their obligations. And obviously the city has been managing this closely. But before we're issuing permits for any number of milestones, we make sure that they've met their financial obligations. So it's not that we're waiting till the end and they pay at the end. They've been paying all along and meeting their obligations, and they've to date been a very good partner with us. So we'll be happy to share that information, and we'll have a chart to show what has been committed and what they've paid, dates and all that, but we have that all available.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any big alarms.
No.
It's just a transparency and, okay, we're 2 years into it and really quite far along in some of the very major projects with the really big price tags. So I just think it'd be.
We will prepare that document
Great.
for
Thank
council.
you, George.
I know you've all been looking between you and Sandy and Justin and Scott and others.
Team working
I know.
on it, headed up Wendy
Great.
and Justin and Mike, and the whole team is with Sandy. We're all working on it, and I think it's going well as envisioned by the river daylighting we had last week.
It was.
A monumentous activity, so.
It is.
George, could we include, in addition to the infrastructure, also an update from a brownfield perspective as well, just so we can start to
good.
speak?
Do we
Obviously,
spend
there's
on
a
the
cap on
brownfield?
total and a cap on timeline. So just have us having an understanding of what expenditures have been made and where that's at, I think is
Yeah.
useful.
A sideline on that.
Yeah, because the last time I was asked when we had Brownfield meeting, was that April?
I don't think they had anything.
Was at that point, they hadn't received any
Yeah,
bills.
I would guess we haven't received any yet, and there's not any taxes that have gone into it.
Yeah.
So we'll have to.
Confident they
Okay.
have not.
We're standing on that.
Yes.
And our expert on that, Sam,
Yep.
had said at the time that,
There'd be Samantha.
they're not gonna get any payments until after, certificate of
Right.
occupancy and taxes are being collected. So they're really not worried about getting those in yet. But I think that's a really good, it could be things have
Good
changed.
point.
Yeah, and I'm certain they're batching
Brownfield.
them, and they're gonna have all of their ledgers and all of their stuff for
They
us
will.
to review at that time.
Yeah.
They will, because they want the dollars too sometimes. Mr. Kranz?
A coffee with council Thursday.
Yeah.
Is it at the Sports Den,
Yes, it is.
2:30, John, Carter and myself
It's beautiful.
Wish I could go.
and George.
And George. Can't have three of us in the same room, otherwise you can't discuss anything, but two of us you can. Three is a form.
We'll have fun.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else, Mr. Kranz?
Mayor and everybody, I fully support the check-in. I think that's a great idea. Let's open up the books and share that. A couple things from the letters received, just making sure we're going to stay on top of it. The heavy trucks driving down Main Street. I know Councilmember Carter was on top of that pretty thoroughly. Maybe George, when you get to your comments, we can
Almost
talk about that.
stuck by the clock. wasn't it, the other
Yeah,
day?
there's been significant large heavy trucks driving through Maine. So I know that there's orders in place, but maybe you can speak to that once I'm done. Jennifer Lucard also commented, and something that's front and center for us is a pedestrian signal at River and 7 Mile, especially with high pedestrian traffic going over to our very successful market. That might be something we want to at least start to publicize when we're going to have that remediation in place, how we want to do that and make that visible.
Right.
The river's open was already alluded to. We have so many great neighbors here who have spent thousands of hours of their life. They could have been doing anything else to get to that point this week. And it was just, last week, it was just extraordinary. And there's more to come. Ford Field Gateway's coming. Now you can see new poles are in, right?
They are in.
Yep. So look out over at Dunlap and Hutton. So that's coming. I will be participating in something called the Declan Carter Walk. So I do not run all those Ks. So if you're not signed up because you're worried about running, I'll be in the back clocking a 14-minute mile. So feel free to join me in the back, and I might dress up for it. So if you have not done it because you're afraid, I'll be in the back with you guys, and we'll make sure we all get home safely after they open the roads back up. Another comment from the letters was Amy Weaver talking about Maplewood Park access that we should follow up on. I know that goes all the way back to our planning days and easement and the lot split that's there. So if we can get back to her and the community there, that would be great. Peace, Love, and Donuts open today. We already got our dozen. I already had one. That's going to be a problem for this family. That's going to be a problem. So if you have a chance, get over there. Great group over there. Another one, this is a good news story. Anonymous $15,000 donation tied directly to an article in the Ville for the VFW to repair their paved area on Rural Hill. That's extraordinary.
Wow.
That is extraordinary. So at Hayek over at the VFW said we needed $15,000. If you were over there on Memorial Day, you said that's not good enough. And somebody after that article in the Ville came forward and said, I'm going to foot the bill. I believe he's a former veteran, but I'm not absolutely sure. So man, if this community is fantastic. And I think that's it. And I'll just let it go with that. So really good things going on.
George, anything from your stand?
So a couple things. We have heard with the streets opening downtown that there have been a couple of wayward trucks, or maybe more than a couple of semi-trailers that should not be really under any circumstances going through the main block of Main Street around the clock tower. So staff, the chief, Public Works are going to review all the signage and traffic control orders to make sure that if there's anything we have to do, there is some additional signage and some TCOs we're going to put in place to reiterate the fact that people should not be taking large trucks through the downtown. There are truck routes, and we will be reiterating all that for people. So that will come quickly to council for review and approval. To the river daylighting, as a city manager, been in his career for a bit now, and that was an astoundingly great project to just be there. I'm glad we got to invite some council and some key community members to be there with the construction workers and the engineers to be able to see that river open up 60 plus years that the river was under a asphalt parking lot and in a culvert, and to see it in daylight was just phenomenal. So congratulations to council for your leadership in helping to make that happen, the developer, the boards and commissions, citizens, and of course, staff and the construction workers and engineers who made that happen. Just a great day for Northville. I also want to say about the playground, it's not an easy task to get little kids to want to come to a government meeting. And we had a daunting task of having a Saturday morning, and the call went out and a lot of people got parents brought their young kids. We got over 40 people there to spend an hour and a half with our playground consultants and staff talking about how to make a great playground for the next generation. And we're really excited to see such great turnout. So thank you to everybody who got out there and contributed to that. And I think it'll make a better project because of that participation. So very exciting stuff. That's all I have.
Great. And just to add to that, there'll be a public unveiling of the whole park and the river in fall. They're putting those trees, and they put 50 trees in since Saturday there. There's 1,200 trees that will go on either side. It's almost amazing. From a person that used to park cars at the Downs, I worked there when I was a kid, in the 70s, to we're going to have 1,200 trees. There wasn't a tree there before, so it'll be outstanding for the future for us to walk up and down that area. And we have a lot of excitement. We have a Kilwins coming to town too, and Gazelle Sportings and others. So it's a fun time. If you haven't been down by Rural Hill, that bridge will be done in the next week and all paved going in there. And as we just mentioned, it's kind of our little Arlington where all of our veterans are out there. And that was the donation that came in. We need a little bit of work up there. We had a veteran that dedicated some time and talents, some financial resources. That'll be outstanding for our next Memorial Day parade. They've done a great job at Oakwood Cemetery here on Cady Street. We are going to then transition to Rural Hills. So I thank everybody for all you do for the city. I thank you for being here tonight on a beautiful night. I'm looking for a motion for adjournment. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
We have it seconded.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you for being here tonight.